Hello everyone, and welcome to BL Stories for You. This is a channel where you'll find unique, original stories written by me. So get comfortable, take a breath, and let's dive in. Mr. Nam sat behind his desk, arms crossed, his expression dark as Taeyang and Woojin stood in front of him. "What were you two thinking?" he snapped. "Do you realize what could have happened if videos or pictures had been taken and leaked to the public?" His eyes immediately went to Taeyang's face, lingering on the bruise and the small cut on his lip. His irritation deepened. "Do you have any idea how serious this is?" he continued. "You are the visual of this group, Taeyong. Your face isn't just your face. It's part of the brand. One scratch and fans start asking questions." Taeyong lowered his gaze, his jaw tight, saying nothing. Mr. Nam then turned sharply to Woojin. "And you," he said coldly, "hitting a member of your own group? Have you completely lost your mind?" Woojin clenched his fists, his eyes reddening. "He provoked me first," he protested. "He just came at me out of nowhere." "Enough," Mr. Nam cut in. "You are the leader of this group. Whether you were provoked or not, it is your responsibility to stay level-headed. Leaders don't throw punches. They de-escalate." Woojin swallowed hard, clearly frustrated, but unable to argue. Mr. Nam sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. "The two of you are always at each other's throats," he muttered. "I don't even want to know what caused this fight today, but whatever it was, it ends now." Neither Taeyong nor Woojin spoke. Mr. Nam straightened in his chair, his voice firm. "Let me make this very clear. If I hear about another incident like this, I will suspend the album release without hesitation." He paused deliberately. "You are not the only artists under this company. I have other groups, other investments. Don't assume I won't act." The warning hung heavily in the room. He looked back at Taeyong one last time. "Go and take care of that cut on your lip," he said. "Make sure it heals properly." With a sharp gesture of his hand, he dismissed them. Meanwhile, just outside the office, Nammin stood with June and Daejo. The three of them had unintentionally heard everything that went on inside. They watched in silence as the door opened. Taeyong walked out first, his expression dark. One hand brushed against his injured lip as he headed down the hallway, without looking back. Moments later, Woojin stormed out in the opposite direction. Shoulders tense, jaw clenched in frustration. Nammin broke the silence. "Do they always argue like that?" he asked quietly. June exchanged a look with Daejo before sighing. "Pretty much," he admitted. "They've never really gotten along." Daejo nodded. "Yeah, it's usually not loud like this, though. Most of the time they're just cold to each other, or they pretend the other doesn't exist." He added, "This is the first time they've ever gone physical." Nammin frowned, clearly unsettled. "But why?" he asked. "Why are they so unfriendly with each other?" June let out a short, tired laugh. "Egos," he said simply. "Big ones," Daejo added. "Woojin's the leader and he can be pretty overbearing. He likes things done his way. And Taeyong can't stand that," June continued. "He hates being controlled, so they clash a lot." Daejo hesitated before adding, "Plus, Woojin's always been annoyed that Taeyong gets most of the attention. Fans, cameras, everything. Taeyang's the visual, but Woojin feels like he does most of the hard work." June shook his head. "The funny thing is, they actually have the same taste in almost everything. Music, concepts, even people." He sighed. "That just makes them more competitive." The three of them fell silent. June finally spoke again, his voice softer. "We just hope they can get it together before the album drops." Daejo nodded. "Yeah, this is the worst timing for all this." Nammin said nothing. His gaze lingered in the direction Taeyong had disappeared. A quiet weight settled in his chest. He didn't say it out loud, but deep down he felt bad. Meanwhile, Taeyong stood alone on the company balcony. the distant hum of the city drifting up from below, as he pressed his phone to his ear. On the other end of the call, Minjay was technically in the art room, working on an assignment the teacher had given them. He sat slouched at his desk, chin resting in his palm, openly shooting heart-shaped looks at Ji Hoon. Ji Hoon, seated beside him, stubbornly ignored the stare, fully focused on the sketch taking shape beneath his pencil, pretending Minjay didn't exist. "My friend, I'm serious," Taeyong said quietly. "I think something's wrong with me." Minjay hummed distractedly. "Aha, you say that like twice a week." Taeyong let out a sharp breath. "No, this time it's different. I don't even understand myself anymore." That caught Minjay's attention. He straightened slightly. "Okay, talk." Taeyong leaned against the railing, his gaze unfocused. "I get irrationally angry when I see someone else touching someone I have my eye on," he admitted. "Like, I completely lose it." Minjay raised a brow. "That does sound bad." "It's not like this with Ji Hoon," Taeyong continued. "I know you like him. I can even joke around with you about it, even though you're technically my rival." He paused, frustration creeping into his voice. "But this feels like it's burning inside me." Minjay glanced sideways at Ji Hoon, who was still sketching, completely unaware of the emotional conversation happening just inches away. A small smile tugged at Minjay's lips. "Is this about Nammen?" he asked carefully. Taeyong froze. "How did you?" Minjay chuckled softly. "You're not subtle." Lowering his voice, he added, "I know that feeling you're describing very well." His eyes lingered on Ji Hoon. "But you need to figure something out for yourself." Taeyong frowned. "Figure out what? Are you feeling this way because you're just being protective, as a friend?" Minjay asked. "Or because you're actually in love with him?" Taeyong opened his mouth, then closed it again. For once, he had no answer. Just then, a familiar voice called out from behind him. "Taeyong." He turned to see Nammin standing a few steps away, hesitation written all over his face. Taeyong stiffened, his heart skipping a beat. "Minjay, I'll call you back," he said quickly, ending the call before Minjay could tease him further. He slipped his phone into his pocket and faced Nammin, his thoughts in complete chaos, as the balcony suddenly felt far too small. Taeyong turned fully toward Nammin, but before he could say anything, Nammin gently grabbed his wrist and tugged him down to sit beside him on the bench. "Sit," Nammin said firmly. Only then did Taeyong notice the small first aid kit resting on Nammin's lap. Nammin clicked his tongue in annoyance. "You really don't listen, do you? The CEO literally told you to take care of the cut on your lip." Taeyong tried to shrug it off. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing," Nammin cut in, already opening the kit. "And since you didn't do it, I will." Before Taeyong could protest, Nammin leaned closer, dabbing a cotton swab with antiseptic. The moment his fingers brushed Taeyang's chin, the air between them shifted. Everything went quiet. Too quiet. Even the distant sounds of the city seemed to fade. Nammin focused on the cut, careful and gentle, while Taeyong simply stared. He couldn't help it. Nammin felt the weight of his gaze, and his ears slowly turned red. "Stop looking at me like that," he muttered without lifting his eyes. "It's distracting." Taeyong didn't look away. Instead, he asked softly, "Nammin, have you ever written letters to me?" The cotton swab froze midair. Nammin's breath hitched as he slowly lifted his head, eyes widening as they met Taeyang's. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "Why would you ask that?" Nammin finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. Taeyong held his gaze serious, unwavering. "I'm just curious." Nammin swallowed, his cheeks flushing deeper. After a beat, he shook his head lightly. "No, I haven't." Taeyong watched him closely. Something about Nammin's expression felt off. Too careful, too practiced. He didn't believe him. Not really. But he said nothing. He simply nodded, allowing Nammin to continue treating the cut. As Nammin finished up, he spoke quietly. You shouldn't fight with Woojin anymore. For the group to grow, everyone needs to be at peace. Taeyong hummed in response. But when Nammin finally looked up, their eyes met, and Taeyong felt his chest tighten. It was the same look, the one Nammin had worn on the day of the concert. Soft, unfiltered, full of something that made Taeyong restless and uneasy. Adoration, love. Taeyong's heart thudded. He looked away, clenching his jaw. I need to be sure, he thought. I can't keep guessing. Just then, something caught his eye. A faint shimmer flashed at Nammin's wrist, almost like red light reflecting off wet ink, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. Taeyong blinked. Did you see that? Nammin looked confused. See what? Taeyong stared at his wrist again. Nothing. He shook his head slowly. Never mind. He brushed it off, telling himself it was just his imagination. At school, Ji Hoon made his way down the hallway toward the bathroom, completely unaware that someone had been watching him from a distance. Minjay waited until Ji Hoon disappeared inside before following quietly. A few minutes later, Ji Hoon finished washing his hands and turned toward the door, ready to leave. He barely had time to react before the door suddenly swung open again. Minjay slipped inside, pushed Ji Hoon back, gently but firmly, then locked the door behind him with a soft click. Minjay, Ji Hoon started. But Minjay didn't let him finish. He pressed Ji Hoon against the wall, hands braced on either side of his head, and kissed him like he'd been holding it in all day. The kiss was rushed, needy, and full of emotion. Ji Hoon froze for half a second, then melted into it, kissing him back just as eagerly. It took a moment before reality caught up. Ji Hoon pulled back slightly, breathless, then placed his hands on Minji's chest and gently pushed him away. Are you crazy? He whispered, half scolding, half laughing. This is the school bathroom. Anyone could walk in. Minjay barely looked guilty. So what? He replied, pouting slightly. No place is safe for us anyway. Ji Hoon stared at him. Minjay continued, softer now. We haven't even hugged properly in hours. Do you know how hard that is for me? Ji Hoon couldn't help it. He laughed, shaking his head. You're insatiable. But instead of pushing him away again, Ji Hoon stepped closer, this time taking the lead. He held Minji's shoulder and kissed him, slower and warmer. When he pulled back, he admitted quietly, I missed you too. Minji's expression softened instantly. Then, can we go on a short date today? He asked hopefully. The amusement park. Ji Hoon blinked. Today. Minjay nodded quickly. I promise it won't distract you. Your studies. The webtoon competition. I know those matter. Ji Hoon thought about it for a moment, then smiled. I can study at night. Minji's eyes lit up. And I don't have basketball practice today. So, I guess that's settled. The two shared a grin, standing far too close in a place they definitely shouldn't be, already looking forward to stealing a little happiness while they could. Later that afternoon, when school finally let out, Minjay and Ji Hoon walked outside side by side. Their shoulders brushed occasionally as they tried, and failed, to hide how close they had grown. They kept their voices low, laughing softly, moving in sync without even realizing it. Across the street, just as a sleek, luxurious car pulled up to the curb, Hannah was about to step inside when her eyes landed on them. She froze. Her manicured fingers tightened around the door as she watched Ji Hoon and Minjay walk away together. Smiling, talking, looking like the world belonged to just the two of them. Something dark twisted in her chest. Jealousy burned hot, ugly, uncontrolled. She clicked her tongue and slid into the back seat. As the car pulled away from the curb, Hannah leaned back and crossed her arms, her expression sharp. Auntie, she said coolly to the woman driving, the longtime butler who had served her family for years. If I asked you to find information about someone, could you? The woman smiled to herself. Of course, miss. As long as you give me a name. Hannah's lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. Good. Just perfect, she murmured. Whatever plan she had been quietly nursing, she was clearly ready to put it into motion. Meanwhile, Minjay and Ji Hoon were far away from all of that, completely wrapped up in their own little world. The amusement park buzzed with lights, music, and laughter, and the two of them soaked it all in. They rode everything they could, from heart-racing roller coasters to gentler rides that let them sit close, fingers brushing, hearts pounding for entirely different reasons. They took pictures. Real ones, not just pose selfies. Photos filled with shy smiles, stolen glances, and moments that felt warm and honest. Between rides, they wandered through small shops, laughing as they picked out matching clothes, keychains, and tiny trinkets that screamed couple, even though they tried to act casual about it. In one shop, a cheerful seller suddenly gasped, "You two are so cute together." Minjay and Ji Hoon stiffened instantly. Panic flashed across their faces, but the seller only grinned, clearly amused. "Don't worry," she added teasingly. "I have a good eye." They left the shop red-faced, laughing nervously once they were safely out of earshot. Time slipped by faster than they expected, and before they knew it, the sky had begun to darken. One by one, the park lights flickered on, glowing softly against the evening air. "I guess we should head home," Ji Hoon said reluctantly. Minjay nodded. "Yeah, we've had enough bonding time for one day." As they walked side by side beneath the dimming sky, Ji Hoon spoke again, his voice thoughtful. "You know, even if we can't be public, at least our best friends should know we're together." Minjay hummed in agreement. "That makes sense." Ji Hoon hesitated. "Taeyong might not take it well, though." Minjay chuckled. "Actually, he might surprise you. He called me recently. I think he has feelings for Nammen." Ji Hoon blinked, then laughed. "Wow, I'm kind of sad I'm no longer the center of a love triangle." Minjay stopped walking immediately. "Hey," he said, clearly offended. "Are you saying you liked watching Taeyong and me have a cold war over you?" Ji Hoon grinned mischievously. "It was entertaining." Minjay narrowed his eyes. "You enjoyed it?" Ji Hoon laughed, reaching out to poke his cheek. "Relax. Even if it dragged on forever, I still would have chosen you." Minjay visibly relaxed, a satisfied smile spreading across his face. But just as the tension eased, "Minjay Park," the voice cut through the air like a blade. Both of them froze. Slowly they turned around. In the distance, standing rigidly in front of her house, was Minji's mother. Her posture was stiff, arms crossed tightly, her expression sharp, eyes filled with judgment and unmistakable disappointment. Panic shot through them both. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update.